More section. My colleagues Harpriya and Samaksh would be helping me today with this. Starting, let's have a video playback, please. Okay, so that was one of our demo videos. Switched off. So as I talked to you in the main presentation group, so lifelike picture, revolutionary sound, and immersive experience like no other. These were the key kind of pillars that the engineers worked on. And let me take you through them one by one. So, of course, as I mentioned earlier, the X1 Extreme processor. This is the key element of this television. It's what drives everything. It's responsible for the picture quality that you see on the screen. Okay, so that paired with the OLED panel itself delivers the picture quality that we so proudly show to you today. Okay, so lifelike picture. So what X1 Extreme basically does is it has a bunch of technologies packed in, all Sony unique technologies, things like dual database processing, object-based HDR remaster, super bit mapping, dynamic contrast enhancer, precision color mapping. A lot of picture quality, picture technologies that have been packed into the X1 Extreme chip, which deliver probably the best picture quality in the industry, okay, as far as televisions are concerned. So the best picture ever. Okay, so the OLED panel itself is kind of self-illuminating. It has 8 million pixels, since it's a 4K television. It delivers perfect blacks because of the characteristics of the panel itself, a wider viewing angle, and also, as I mentioned earlier, good for sports thanks to blurless motion. Very efficient handling of fast-paced action on the screen itself. Okay, so ultra contrast and clarity unparalleled. Now, thanks to a typical OLED TV, I mean, anybody can make an OLED television these days. Okay, so but a typical OLED television would look something like this, wherein even noise in dark areas would get enhanced thanks to poor picture technology and make for a very ordinary viewing experience. But the Sony A1, thanks to the unique Sony technology that it employs, uses noise reduction in the dark areas and gives you perfect blacks and perfectly illuminated bright objects in such scenes. Okay, so let me give you a demo of this. Can we have the lights off, please? As you can see, the blacks are black, the illuminated portions of the screen are illuminated, well illuminated. So the point is that I mean, I wish I could show you one of those other OLED televisions to show you what the difference was between the Sony and the other. Thanks to the way that we demonstrate at press conference, we cannot do that. But yes, the Sony handles blacks and bright areas like no other television in the industry. Okay, so that's the specialty in the A1 OLED. Moving on to the acoustic surface. Now, this is probably the most innovative part of this television. Something that, I mean, most of us haven't even, I think, imagined. I mean, getting sound from the screen itself, getting the screen to vibrate. The way it works is thanks to a total fusion of image and sound. Sound is coming from the screen itself. Typical TVs, the speaker is built into the bottom or somewhere in the front. So sound reflects off the base or from the wall behind and comes at you from the bottom of the screen, typically. And then your ear has to adjust to sync the lady's voice with what you're actually hearing from the speakers, which are placed somewhere else. Okay, so that's how a conventional TV works. But in the case of A1, thanks to the points that I talked about earlier, sound is coming from the screen itself, thanks to the acoustic surface, and sound position matches perfectly with what's happening on the screen. So when the lady's singing, you feel like the voice is coming from her mouth itself. Okay, so that's acoustic surface. The screen is the speaker. It has actuators built in. Actuator looks something like this. It's very similar to a normal speaker. Okay, it has a voice coil and it has a magnet and all of that. But instead of a speaker cone, we use the TV screen here. The TV screen vibrates and gives you sound. Okay, so this is what an actuator looks like. We have multiple actuators built into the back of the product, which looks something like this. And this is how it works. It vibrates thanks to when electricity passes through the actuator, the voice coil vibrates like in a typical speaker. But when the voice coil vibrates, it sets off the screen into vibration as well, and you get sound from the screen itself. So that's how the acoustic wave. Comes to you when you're watching the A1 OLED. Okay, and we have, like I mentioned, we have multiple actuators which operate something like this on both sides of the TV for stereo sound. Besides actuators, the actuators, like I mentioned, take very good care of high frequencies and mid and some part of the low frequency band as well. Now, the hidden rear subwoofer makes up for low frequencies. It delivers very powerful bass, which we'll demonstrate to you in a while. Very, very good overall well-balanced sound quality, okay, from the A1. So every seat is the best seat in the house, which we will proceed to demonstrate to you now. Okay? Harpriya, can you?
Yeah. Can you switch off the lights, please?